Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities Behind Black Business. And we have another wonderful guest for you tonight, Dr. Paul Jones, who is a Naprapath, and he performs Naprapathic Holistic Health Care. And he's been doing this for a very long time. And Dr. Jones, I want to thank you so much for taking out your precious time to do this interview and to make this whole interview work, because we had to do a little work to get this going. So thank you.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for inviting me to appear on your podcast.
Absolutely. Dr. Jones is located in the Hyde Park Bank Building at 1525 East 53rd Street, Suite 810. The phone number is 773-510-0444, or you can also contact him by email at phjones, that's spelled Jones, Ness, at gmail.com. You got it? Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about Dr. Jones and Naprapathy. But as you know, we are a nonprofit organization here at RRGBC, and we're working to enhance the awareness and support of Black-owned businesses, and particularly here in the Chicago area. And we're doing this because we need to operate more as a collective in this city, as a collective amongst Black people. It's what everyone else is doing, operating as a collective, and it's having an impact negatively or positively in terms of how we do this on our schools, on our communities at large, on the education of our children, on our health, in the political arena, on our future as a people in this country. And so we feel that it is important that we support our businesses, because that's where we're spending our dollars. That's where our dollars can circulate and have an impact in all of those areas. So supporting our businesses is important. I'm sure Dr. Jones can remember when this was something that we did automatically. You know, it was a time when we didn't have a choice, and now we have a choice, and some of us are not choosing to support our Black establishments like we should, or even seeing the importance of it. And so that is the mission, the goal of Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. And that is why we have this podcast every Wednesday night, bringing to you the wonderful businesses, and letting you have an opportunity to know the wonderful proprietors that are behind these businesses. And so that's why we do this podcast. I do want to indicate that we are great supporters of our bookstores, and we feature a Black bookstore on our website every month. And the bookstore for this month is Rose Cafe. The owner is Aisha Malone, and she's in the Roseland area. And her bookstore is online. So you would have to go to rosecafe.org, and she has a plethora of books and supports for her bookstores. And we're asking that you support her. And what we chose for this month, I have to see if I can find this book. It is The South Side, a portrait of Chicago and American segregation. And this is a book that can be purchased at Rose Cafe if you go to her website. But to a lucky subscriber, we're going to give this book away, and we pay for the cost of the book here at RRGBC. We bear the expense of shipping, although we would like for you to go directly to her website to get the book, and look at other books that she has, but we will pay for the cost of this book. All you have to do is subscribe to rrgbc.org to become eligible to win this book. And in greater support of our bookstores, we have a public policy petition out. If you go to Save Black Bookstores Chicago at change.org and sign our petition, we want our local municipalities to give contracts to our bookstores. Many people in different industries are getting contracts from our local government. We're paying our taxes, and we have a say so in where these dollars go. And we want more dollars to go to support our bookstores because that's where our history is. And we have many people writing books. And so we want to support our local bookstores. And so that's a policy piece that we have on the table right now. We're also still working on that directory, which will be coming soon. And lastly, the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, located at 55th and Wentworth, who's been in our community for many years, helping people in the community not able to get loans, giving financial literacy classes. Greg Brown is a gem in our community, and he cares about us. And so we ask that you go there and open up an account. That's how a bank raises dollars, by us opening up an account. So many of us have our dollars in these big banks, and many of them don't give back, but we're helping them to make money every day. So you just got to think about where you're spending your dollars. And we here at Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities want you to spend your dollars with Black businesses. Okay? All right. So, Dr. Jones,
Yes,
you are a naprapath.
correct.
Some people have heard that word. Some people have had the opportunity to receive services from you, from other naprapaths, and some people just have heard the word and do not know what it means. So I would like for you to start out by letting people know what a naprapath is, what this is all about.
Thank you, Denise, for asking for your invitation and for asking. Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard about naprapathy, and we specialize in the treatment of soft tissue injuries, regardless of whether it's related to repetitive motion syndrome. That's where people have difficulties getting up out of bed, getting up off a chair, anything of that type. It could be an auto accident. It could just be from poor posture, getting up, getting down. It involves movement, it involves injury, it involves discomfort, pain, achiness to the soft tissue. That is the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, the skeletal system, and the nerves. All of these particular uh, structures of the body can easily be harmed just based on our activity or our inactivity. Some people, and in this case, most people are not active enough to maintain the physical structures of the body. So, as a naprapath, we're trained on how to treat this condition and increase the range of motion that people become restricted from having. They're having trouble getting in cars, getting out of bed, and all of these things, or they're not physically active enough to maintain the body's ability to function on just a normal daily basis. We've gotten so inactivity that wasn't the case all the time. So that
Mhm.
we different forms of therapy It works with body workers to be Naprapathic physical evaluation, assessment, just to see, what is it that what you are, whether or not you're listening to your body, because our body talks to us. So I think that this is just an open explanation. I don't know if it's clear enough for everybody, but the body talks, and we're trying to help you answer the question the body is asking you. Why are you treating me this way? Why have I had pain? Why can't I eat? Why can't I stretch my arms over my head? Why can't I bend? What is wrong with we trying to bring life back into the structure so that it
Mhm.
functions to be able to maintain yourself.
Well, there's two important things that you mentioned there. One is we're not listening to our bodies. Our bodies, as you said, are constantly talking to us and telling us certain things, and we're not accustomed to listening. Or if something happens, we tend to want to take some medicine to make it be quiet.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There are many things that constitutes body talk, and I talk about that because I use body talk as a way to open up our conversation with a patient as lifestyle evaluation. I said, why are you here? What are your primary concerns for being here? And then 90% of the cases is due to some form of pain. And that pain could be described as aches. It can be described as intense. It can be described as irritation. It can be described as swelling, inflammation, anything that causes headaches, digestive problems. When you have irritation in nerve fibers and you have the vertebrae, the bones of the body irritating those nerves, the body doesn't get those correct biological symbols, doesn't get the stimulation that it requires to maintain itself. So yeah, we need adequate rest, we need proper nutrition, we need proper fluids in terms of beginning with water. So we need to take on the assignment of maintaining and not only maintaining but restoring the structure, this physical structure, back to health.
So the other thing that you mentioned was movement. And I know with the lifestyles now, more people are working from home. More people are working on the computer from home. People aren't, dancing like they used to. We're not getting the level of exercise that we should be getting. So people have to go to the health club, or they maybe take some yoga classes. But we used to be more physically, even children used to be more physically active. They don't even let most schools, the students don't go outside for recess to play. So outside of gym, there's no physical activity. And I would think that this would be having a huge impact on not only the adults, but the children as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. The all the courses are now being conducted by a computer, so people are not really visiting the libraries. They're not having the opportunity out of fear and violence. So the society we live in constantly has been overstimulated in terms of how their life is being affected by violence, by poor educational systems that we have, just by being contained in the house. Parents naturally are concerned about the safety of their children, so they keep them
Mhm.
there. But there are a lot of things that they can do for adults in particular. We need to begin our movement when we wake up. Before we get out of the bed and place pressure on the joints, pressure on the muscle structures which are already tight, I have a wake up and a go to bed exercise where you shrug your shoulders, you rattle the ball or you wiggle your hands and your toes, because half of the body's bones are in the hands and the feet. They do all the work to balance
Mhm.
all this body we carrying around. And so therefore you wiggle the toes, and you don't have a lot of pressure placed on the joints. warm up the soft tissue, that is the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, all of that, so that when you put weight, as you get out of bed and put weight on the foot, it's more comfortable. Just like you have a car in the wintertime. We warm it up first before we take off. We want to hop up. Oh, that's for babies and maybe young people. But as you
Hmm.
age, you need to be more concerned about how your joints function, whether they're movable, and if they're not, that tells you that you're not maintaining the structure. Because I get them warmed up so they can stretch, and you don't have that stiffness in the joints and the tightness in the soft tissues like the muscles of the head, the neck, the shoulders. We do an assessment which evaluates the total body. Just a brief kind of from observation, you can see that people, are over tightness, over tired, they fatigue, they all this. If you wake up feeling bloated, congested, and tired, you didn't have a good night's rest. That's accumulative. That builds up over a period of time, and it shuts down the ability of your body to function as you normally could. I
And
know
then
that was
you
like a
have, and then
long
you have,
answer.
and then you have many people who are driving Uber. There's so many sedentary jobs, that people have today. So when people, what are mostly what you're seeing, some of the major environmental issues that some of your patients are coming in with?
Well, they coming in with headaches, stiff necks, shoulders, not being able to raise yourself, not being able to get up out, like I said, out of chairs because they sitting all the time. If you sit more than 30 minutes without getting up, that tension and tightness accumulates through all the structures of the body, especially the weight bearing joints like the ankles, the knees, the hip joint, the shoulder joint, and the neck. So those weight bearing things they tend to tighten up. So you need to get up and move around to loosen up. Um, and now most of the jobs are sitting there. People are working from home now, and they usually it's not that you work according to the structure of that particular company. So a lot of people, they're monitored even while they're home, and they
Hmm.
have a tendency to eat more and to do less because they don't have to leave anything. I mean, working in their pajamas and stuff like that, or
Hmm.
they got a top on and all these other things. So they're less mobile and they're less going to give less consideration to movement. And we
Hmm.
know that you need fresh air. You got to get out someplace. They used to have programs where people walked in the mall indoors, even in the wintertime, or the museums. A lot of those things were interrupted as a result of the pandemic, COVID. And
Hmm.
they gotten so comfortable with doing less that now we're seeing people with having more canes, walkers, having all kind of physical stuff. And when that happens, you begin to deteriorate. I mean, my patients I call athletes of life. You understand? What is your program to maintain yourself so that you can get through living on a daily basis? And you have to have movement is one of the. If your life on a daily basis does not involve movement, you lose it, and you may not have the strength for your body to perform things like even breathing, affects digestion, steadily affects elimination and mobility, the ability to move. So we're looking at encouraging people. I work in partnership with people.
Hmm.
I'm just they are the experts when they come in because they know more about their body. They may not understand that they know more, but I try to help them understand that. Look, I'm taking things that you inform me about, and let's see what we can do to create an environment which the body can heal itself, restore itself to a point, and induce happiness. And that comes through a holistic approach, body, mind, and soul. You got to use whatever beliefs you have. You understand to give you the permission to live life according to what the Creator has pronounced. I'm just a facilitator. I don't cure
Hmm.
anything, but I work to create an environment where you will work to help the body heal itself and restore itself to what the Creator has designed for you. Uh, and we use all these hot packs. cold packs, electrical stimulation, physical manipulation, just to help the body increase gradually. I don't do any more one and done. They come in just to find out what I'm capable of. We have to commit to 3 sessions in order for us to not only assess, treat, but we want a treatment plan because you come in for me for a certain period of time, but you with yourself all the time. How do you not further abuse the body that the Creator has given you? How do you make a plan to improve? What are you willing to do regarding every aspect of your life, like eating,
So,
movement?
so Dr. Jones, for
Yes.
most people think about this with they within the realm of aging. When people start to get aches, or they'll think, well, I'm getting old, and this is natural. Um, how would you adjust that perspective as far as being mobile and I know people who I know who are more in the senior age, which I would say, 70 and up, they express how important it is for them to keep moving. But also, I'm sure you have younger patients,
Oh,
and because of what's happening is just the same thing.
yeah, I treat patients well, especially a lot of young people who are in the sports or desire to be sports, or young people who fall, have injured themselves and things like that. Young people who are not physically mobile enough because they have never engaged in any activities of sports and things like this. Teenagers, a lot of athletes come in because they develop so much, they into so much fitness that they're limited in terms of their flexibility. They don't have that full range of motion to stretch, to bend, to squat, all of these kind of things. We stretching is stretching is critical to maintaining the body. That loosens up the tension between all the bones, the vertebrae, the soft. You stretch the soft tissue. You can
Hmm.
use hot packs, cold packs, creams, ointments, supplements, and specifically nutrition. Food is the medicine that cures all. You just have to know what to eat, how to eat, how to prepare it. And when I say how to, I'm talking about portion control. So that all of these things work together. You approach it gradually. You don't expect major changes overnight, but you expect to be educated and become informed on know how to conduct yourself on a daily basis.
So basically, we have young people, we have our middle age, we have our seniors. Mobility is a problem across all ages. And when you start
Well,
getting these aches and pains, a lot of it has to do with lack of mobility. And so
oh,
it shouldn't just always look at it as a aging problem, but it's about
oh
how
no,
well you take care of yourself.
yeah, that's just started at an early age. It should be taught in school how to take care of yourself, but since it isn't, it used to be a primary goal of the family. We used to eat much fresh, raw, and we were limited to snacks. We only ate uh, good food, and now I'm talking about fresh. You're talking about fast food. You wash off an apple, a pear. That's fast food. The kind of food we're getting through these fast food restaurants is prepared, so chemically laced with all kind of harmful elements that all we're doing is getting taste, but not getting nutrition. And it's the
So
nutrition.
how does this processed food, basically is what you're saying, that we're eating, and food that when you talk about snacks are nutritionally, limited in terms of what you're going to get out of it when you eat it. How is that actually affecting our body?
Well, two of the primary things, especially in the Black community and the Hispanic community, we know, and it's well documented that we have more people who have diabetes because of the sugar content in food, and we have more people who have hypertension, which contribute to cardiovascular problems, strokes, heart attacks, shortness of breath, and things of this type. Because, like I said, there's so much involved in so much sodium, salt, and other chemicals that retain excess fluid that interfere with digestion, absorption, and primarily elimination. Like I said, if you wake up in the morning feeling bloated, congested, and stuff, you better start paying attention to your body because the body can't breathe, but it can't circulate blood. It interferes with the function of nerve activities throughout the entire system of the body. I'm talking about we need to look at ourselves from head to toe, and that's let alone all the other habits we have, excess alcohol, drugs, and all these other things. That's on top of the most dangerous food we can form act we can perform is between our hands and our mouth.
Hmm.
It's flexible. I'm saying that's the most dangerous activity that people perform. The distance between our hands and our mouth does more harm and jeopardizes our health more than anything else.
Why do you think we eat so much?
Oh, we can't help it. For one, food is look. Have you seen a commercial of food that it doesn't entice people to stop even when they're not hungry?
Hmm.
So I'm saying I mean, it's a science involved in promotion. And in America, they're good at it. Otherwise, why would you have something like 22,000 subways and 15 to 16,000 McDonald's and Burger Kings in the black community? We have the proliferation of these fast food restaurants. You're not really getting food. What you're getting ingredients, things of that type. Nutrition has been robbed out of the soil. The air is contaminated, the water is poisoned. Now, the greatest functions to sustain life is what? Breathing and getting more fluid to promote all the circulation in terms of the body. And we become indifferent to that. We don't, we always delay the fact that our air is polluted. Oh, we can do that. Everybody has polluted air, and we can see that's contributing to what is known as climate change. So, how are we paying attention to the very foods that we eat? That shows that we don't feel it's our responsibility to be responsible enough to maintain our state of health, our health. We all struggle with. I do.
Hmm.
Everybody does. But as you tend to get older, you may, it depends on what quality of life do you want to live?
Right.
I mean, do you want to be a chemical survivor? I mean, and that's what drugs are contributing to. We're chemically surviving, but our quality of life is diminishing. It's less. You can, where you can barely raise your head off the bed, where you have to have more, and those, I mean, to be maintained in assisted living, nursing homes, those are very costly, and you may not be getting the best care at all. So, I'm saying as young age, we need to begin becoming more conscious on what our responsibility is for maintaining our state of health and not anybody else. In our opinion, each person has their own opinion about how they want to conduct and live their life. I'm
True.
talking about young ages now. Young ages. People telling we got elected officials telling parents they don't have a prominent role in making decisions regarding their children. And so therefore, parents are at a disadvantage. They can't go by a McDonald's or Burger King without the kids repeating everything they've seen on TV. So our life is not under, we're losing control of how to raise our families or how to be the parent in the family without getting pushback. So kids throw tantrums and everything else. We have to set the example. But if we're not in the state of mind to give instructions and directions to the situation, I mean, growing up, I didn't have a choice. I ate what was prepared and I ate what I took. And if you
Hmm.
didn't, there was nothing else available. And so you didn't go in the refrigerator for permission. Now we have group decisions. And that's fine if you're going to be responsible for the decisions that you make. So when you gain so much, and it interferes with your heart. I mean, yeah, every day people are coming into the office talking about they have a fibrillator, inserted in their heart. When you start losing those valuable, vital function, how can you sustain yourself? And it takes a lot to maintain yourself. So it takes more to be a caregiver to maintain somebody else. So what we're trying to do is educate people, help them through therapy. And as part of that therapy is patient education. So they will learn how to maintain themselves and in a compassionate manner. We're not accusing or blaming anybody. We're just saying that as a community of, well, first of all, human beings, and in particular black community, we need to be informing each other of things to do to change. That's why your businesses is so important, that our survival needs us to be economically educated. So the businesses that we have in the practitioner, we don't have enough people to care for those in the community. We claim that they're not trained enough. So always have to look out and go to somebody else who doesn't have the same particular interest in our health as we do, our economic health, our spiritual health, our physical health, and our mental health.
It would be nice if we were known as a community of people who eat healthy, who live more of a healthy lifestyle. And so all the things that we do and all the foods that we eat and the way we prepare the foods that we eat and how we deal with our illnesses and challenges rather in our community, we're all more of a natural form if we would just as a people go down that road. But so many of our people um, are on so many medications, and they go to the doctor and they give you a medication, and then you have to take another medication to offset what that medication might create, which is possibly problems with your kidneys. um, all of a sudden have inducing situations where now you're diabetic. I've seen medications create many of these problems, and then you're taking more medications to try to balance that out, and then people look up and they're taking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 medications a day.
Well, one of the things that happen is that the biggest users of certain medical services like dialysis, which has a life expectancy maybe 10, 15 years at the most, if that's long, are black people and Hispanics. Where our diet is consuming too much artificial sweeteners. We say sugar. A lot of these sweeteners, like I said, the excess amount of sodium, so that the kidneys and the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, all of these particular organs and structure are exposed to the risk of all these chemicals. But that wasn't always the case, was it? Because we can remember times where most of us came up from the South, and we had to grow our own food, make our own clothes. We were independent. And the more we became absorbed, now we're getting strict. We're being taught through these gardens. There are a lot more people in gardening,
Hmm.
we're being taught by outsiders. I mean, it's so strange and interesting when we were the producers of all this food, and now, uh, we're not informed enough to grow our own. So we can't
Right.
even sustain. We don't have any grocery stores in our community. That's economics, and it's sustainable through food. We don't even do that. So if things shut down, our community would be the most vulnerable of anybody. We don't have any stores. Can you imagine that?
Hmm.
That's where you spend money. The basics is right there with food. That's the most consumed kind of thing, and it turns over economically speaking. So we're trying to make people go back to more simple styles of living. At least behavior habits have to be established where we aren't so dependent on the system. I mean, these drugs are outrageous in terms of cost, and it's like I said,
Oh.
the side effects outweigh. And it tells you clearly that
Hmm.
the risk the benefits must outweigh the risk.
Right.
But here, But here the risk is greater than the benefits. Yet
Hmm.
we still dependent on listening to somebody, you understand? And because life has become a matter of convenience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's convenient to do this and not to do that. It's convenient just to go to the store to provide prepared goods like, macaroni and cheese, one of our staples in our community. Now we're getting not only the pasta, we're getting the cheese that's been manufactured. We can do that in 5 minutes. But how healthy, what is it doing for sustaining
Right.
us nutritionally speaking? This is what you talked about.
That's
Um,
right.
all of these sweetened drinks that our children are getting in cafeterias and things of this type. So they're not, and the things that we used to do by hand, the CPS and education is not teaching vocational skills where people, at least not to us, we don't have access to that, and none of our elected leaders are pushing for those kind of things. We excluded for things that sustain us economically, like the trades. We used to have Washburn and all of those, but as soon as we got involved in it, they were eliminated or they were moved away from our communities. I remember the Coalition for Nine Community Action, where there was emphasis on trade unions. So a lot of the things we're involved in as a community are making us dependent on the ability of all these fast foods, and we don't the economics, everything.
And like you said, it's all a matter of convenience. and
Right,
especially and especially with food wise and especially economically wise. It's more convenient now to go and get what you need on Amazon and or order online as opposed to supporting those businesses in your community that are going to give back because those dollars that you spend out there with some of these big companies, um, that money is not coming back to the community. So you see the community going down for lack of resources.
right. We're losing businesses more than instead of adding business, we're losing businesses, and
Hmm.
we're going to follow us. We used to. I remember there used to be back alley mechanics, and now with the digital and the technology, uh, that's not accessible, nor is the training provided and available for us to sustain ourselves in doing electricians, carpenters. We used to take care of ourselves, and now we're dependent on others to do it without having the economic resources to do it. And therefore, we're losing ground in terms of property, homeowners, all of these things. These people have left the city, gone to the suburbs, and they found out that it costs too much to maintain sewers, transportation. You understand all of these public works projects. Now they're coming back in the city, and we're being displaced by that whole. Our mindset is contributing. We're not looking at what's happening to us. At least we need to be able to focus on caring for our own state of health. And when I say state of health, I'm talking about a state of health spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and economically. We our state of health involves a total environment. It starts with us and in our homes. And this is why
Hmm.
production, the sharing of love and resources and things that you're doing needs to be shared more with
Right.
all of us. None of us excluded of this. I'm just saying we need to bring love up, learn how to apply love in terms of our daily living.
I think if businesses made and even businesses like yourself as part of helping a person become or a more holistic approach that is supporting black businesses and supporting your community is something that is addressed because a lot of
Yeah,
people don't even think about that, or it's just like when you go to the doctor, sometimes they try to compartmentalize everything and one person only deals with this and one person only deals with that, and but we need to have more of a holistic approach, and it should include our economics because when your economics are not where they need to be, that creates a lot of stress, in people's
oh
lives.
yeah. The there's what happens, one of the things that happens is that under stress, the kidneys don't function. It produces all of the spleen, the adrenal glands. They produce hormones that are harmful to the ability of the body to dispose and eliminate, and that contributes to raising the blood pressure. That can contribute to us becoming inactive, depressed. Our whole state of medical well-being, it has always been in jeopardy as long as we've been in this country. That's been 500 years. And we're relying on others to supply answers that we already have the answers to, but we refuse to take the responsibility because it might be painful. But that's our survival depends on our ability to deal with creating an environment conducive to our state of well-being. As Black people here in America, we can't rely on others to assume that they know, because they don't display the ability to understand when we sharing what it is that we're being faced with.
That's
Most of them
right.
ignoring that. And so that's why I got involved, because I didn't get involved just simply to treat physical things. I got involved because I was under a state of stress. I'm talking about emotionally and physically, and I wasn't finding answers to other things I was doing to splash. But I recognize what stress is all about in the harm. I'm talking about emotionally, mental, without the companion of spiritual remedies, and without the companion of the way we conduct our lives in terms of our food, our mobility, our pain. By the time we realize that we're not feeling well or we have pain, we got a condition that we need.
Wow.
What I'm saying, by the time you
Mm-hmm.
realize it, we have ignored the signs that have gone on in the body to wake up to. And by the time that time now, people want to come in one time and think that that should be enough to remedy a lifestyle that we live of physical and mental and emotional abuse. Abuse is the thing that's killing us because we continue to ignore it. I mean, when you got an ache, isn't it amazing how the body is able to compensate to drag yourself along, even with aches, degrees of pain, degrees of
Mm-hmm.
discomfort, mental torment? There must be a powerful creator that allows us to endure all of this without coming to a level of consciousness. And we say, it's time for us to make some change. I want to be involved in that process of change in terms of restoring or contributing to a state of well-being. What is the state of well-being? What does it actually require? It requires consciousness and awareness. That's why I belong to a group also to sustain myself called Universal Light Bearer. And one of the founders of it, who was a colleague of mine, is Dr. Albert Dunn. And so through the group that's before, we're trying to learn the basic principles of truth ourselves so we can hold ourselves accountable for accepting responsibility for our mental, our spiritual, our physical, our emotional state of well-being. And all of these things together, they're not isolated. You can't take a pill and expect that to resolve all of the abuse that we sustain and we contribute to sustaining. At one time I thought I was responsibility for consuming all of the amount of Jack Daniels that the manufacturers created, and then until it caused conditions that told me, hold it, you got to move away from. I can't be consumed hanging out in the streets and all these other kind of things. I can't get rest. I'm tormented. So you have to. What state what state of awareness are you in that we can continue to engage in neglect? That's the
That's right.
questions we need to seriously
That's
ask.
right.
And and recognize people. We have to recognize people where they are. You start them where they are, and you
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, is there anything? Let's see what kind of a patient plan we can create together, because you know more about you. You may not, the terms that we use might be confusing and things like that. Do you hurt? Are you able to rest? Are you able to eliminate? I mean, wake up bloated, congested. and constipated is not a good feeling. You talked about pain is distracting, and it distracts you away from any plan of healing. And it's time for us to decide that we're going to change. And this is at any age, because I say young people come in, they want to continue. If they're in sports, they want to continue involved in being active in sports. So dancers may come in. I have a lot of cheerleaders and different things like that. I have a lot of self athletes, and they want to continue that. And they may be more willing to listen than others because they know that the condition they're in is interfering with their ability to perform function. As we get older, we need to be capable of devoting more time to recognizing that we need to clean up the abuses that we made so we can maintain and restore ourselves to a state of well being.
Well, Dr. Jones, what's beautiful about what you're saying is you saw a condition, you saw a need, and you went forward and you uh, engaged in becoming a naprapath and learning how to address this issue. And as a Black man, you already inherently know many of the traumas and the problems that we have. And so you're able to take your knowledge and address the needs of our people. And you took the mantle and did that. And how long have you been a naprapath?
Since 1980.
Since 1980.
Yes. So I'm
Okay.
practicing way beyond retirement age, but I do it in a different form right now. I allowed I first I resigned myself. I submitted myself to the will of the Creator so that I would be capable of listening at some point in the life I was living. So that now the instructions I'll say, hey, be more attentive, be more
Mm-hmm.
patient, be more loving, less challenging, less conflicting,
Mm-hmm.
more available. With those instructions, I find out that things are revealed that were have always been present, but I have missed out on the benefits from it. So now I go back and say, yeah, you're right. I
And
see
see,
things
and see,
before I
that's
see
a
them
that's
now.
a that's a consciousness. What I'm talking about when I'm talking about a community of people that understands the needs of their people and the challenges of their people. And so you going and doing this, then you were able to take on and address this issue because you understood what the needs of our people are. And I know also in naprapathy, I wanted you to have an opportunity to talk about this. Uh, but we deal with a lot of herbs and
Oh,
then homeopathic medications, or I will say homeopathic formulas. And so I
yeah.
would like for you to talk about, give some talk about that.
Yeah, well, this it starts off basically with the nutrition. It starts off with the foods, fresh, raw uh, foods, and a diet that involves one that serves the body through nutrition, and sometimes the food, in terms of the state that we're in, we have to go to supplements, vitamins, minerals, in a concentration that helps maintain us on a daily basis. But some of the things related that our parents and foreparents and ancestors used, they didn't have all this medicine. They had to go to the garden and
Mm-hmm.
get some things, some herbs that they knew about that they brought over a long time ago, and
Mm-hmm.
they were involved in use. I mean, growing up, if you had a cold, you might be using Vicks on the rub on your chest, and they might have Brother John coffee. They might take a lot of things and make those formulations and do it. So now they're trusted sources available for herbs, homeopathic remedies, um,
Now, what
ointments.
are what are homeopathic remedies?
Well,
What is that?
homeopathic addresses, say like if you have a breathing problem, homeopathic remedies are those that will help induce the breathing. It works in what they call similarities, the same symptoms you experience, find one particular ingredient that will reflect that. And the homeopathic is usually in a concentrated. It comes essentially in drops. It could be
Hmm.
in a tablet form, and it's designed to mimic the same symptoms you experience in your body, and they use those symptoms to heal the structures of the body. The things with herbs is that you might use more herbs in the tea form, but now they have them encapsulated, and they might be in a way they might be powdered. So, like, one of the things for high blood pressure might be, the red pepper, cayenne, uh, apple cider vinegar. We use a lot of that to provide natural sources of potassium and things like. Well, they could be involved in encapsulation that you can take without having to drink a lot of consuming a lot of these particular things, and you can manage and regulate this thing. That's what the homeopathic remedies do.
Okay. So the homeopathic formulas are, you say they more likely to mimic
Yeah, yeah.
what the body should be doing to
What
help
the
the body
body should
mimic.
Oh yeah, what the body should be doing, and they were the primary form of treatment that doctors used before 1900.
I'm sorry,
That
would you repeat that? You kind of faded out.
Okay, I'm saying that homeopathic remedies dominated the market in the 1900, 1909, and all of those kind of things. And
Hmm.
then there was another group called allopaths that came in with drugs, and they supported medical school training. They told them that we're gonna give you some money to develop medical schools, but you're gonna have to use the remedies that we supply, and that's how they moved from homeopathy to allopathic medicine, and that's what
Okay.
we're in now. We're in the state of allopathic medicine. That is the medical industry, the formula, the pharmaceutical industry controls that, and they've been doing it for years. But everybody, even the physicians, used to be homeopaths, or they used to use
Okay.
homeopathic remedies as a process of healing.
Okay. What is apothecary? I hear of apothecary
That's
facilities.
those are drugstores. The farm individual pharmacies they use that name. When I was stationed in Germany as a in the military, I was a basic corpsman. An apothecary was just the name of the pharmaceutical or the individual drugstores. They used to call them apothecaries
Okay.
before that. Now because then it was by the independent. They went to school and they had you remember all of the independent drugstores
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and in Europe and places like they would call it apothecary. But now it's a commercial industry that they dispense most of their medication through Walmart pharmacies, Walgreens pharmacies, CVS pharmacies. So now you have a different method of distribution. Apothecaries were just a more independent way of distributing drugs, and
Okay.
but it wasn't on the industrial commercial basis that it is now, as in the form of pharmacies and drugstores.
Okay. So when someone comes to you for services, you describe to me as providing manual medicine, non-invasive modalities,
Yeah.
nutritional counseling, therapeutic exercises, and rehabilitative exercises, and then you're addressing the treatment of pain, right?
Pain management is the
Pain management.
is the primary source of why people come in to see me. Is because
Okay,
they have something that they can no longer ignore. you know.
that's right.
So the principal thing in the beginning is becoming acquainted through the health history. What is it
Okay,
that
you're kind of fading out, Doctor.
okay,
Kind of fading
what
out.
what is it that primarily concern you of why you're here? And
Okay,
usually it results from pain. And like I said, it could be in the neck, the shoulders, the back. Could be a stomach ache, headache. any of these kind of things, and we do an evaluation after the history of finding out why they're there. The history is how long have you had this particular condition, and what state of, of pain on a scale of 1 to 10. And we do a physical assessment to see the things that could interrupt it. Maybe it's tightness in the neck, the shoulders, it's compressing on the nerves. Does it affect your circulation, your breathing, your elimination? Is it, what state of stress are you in? Some things uh, going on in terms of family life, in terms of their relationship with spouse, in terms of the relationship with work. Whereas a student, maybe maybe their sports injury or thing. Maybe a lot of people come as a result of car accidents or a fall, and so that you're dealing with them from first of all from the basis, and as you go through treating them, as that's why I'm saying at least 3 visits I request a commitment to at least 3 to assess and to treat and to rehab, just as a starting modality, a basis. Because if they're not willing to commit to that, then they're not willing to deal with the problem. Because it's usually through a process of accumulation. We've
Hmm.
accumulated a lot of these particular things that we've ignored because our body talks to us.
And we have to listen.
We have to listen. That's the important thing. I'm
That's
saying
how
even
you
my
started out talking about how we have to learn how to listen to our body.
yeah. I mean, it's like any relationship. I mean,
Mhm.
miscommunication is a problem in most relationships, and it starts with us. It starts with me.
Sure,
Am I listening? Am I obedient? First of all, to the voice of the Creator, and the Creator is trying to communicate to me by telling me, let's correct this situation right now. You've gone too far in ignoring my word and my voice, and
hmm,
I'm just trying to intervene here through the form of pain, disturbances, inability to move. I'm loving on you by signaling you, contacting. I'm contacting you. You didn't listen earlier, so I
sure.
had to push up. I had to push the volume up.
That's right.
And when you can't get out that car, get out of that bed, you have a headache or you fall or something like, you haven't
Hmm.
been listening to me. And I'm here on the other end. I'm asking you, well, indirectly, what has he been saying to you?
Hmm.
Yeah, he talks to you, and and in a familiar voice. Oh, so now you got pain. What kind of pain do you have on a degree of 1 to 10? Where is it at? How do we
And
go about?
even listening not only to the pain, but when your body is telling you that you're doing something right.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You
please,
know,
joy
you
and
gotta
happiness.
it's a continuum here, and you gotta learn how to listen. Your body is telling you when you're doing the right things.
Oh yeah, it does. It's nothing better than feeling free of, because like I said, all the things we've been discussing are sources of distraction.
Hmm.
It takes us away from our ability to enjoy and be satisfied with life. But when that pain is gone, or when it's diminished, or we become more aware that the voice has already been there to instruct us on how to maintain ourselves, no
Hmm.
more greater sense of happiness.
And see, this is what's so special about, I would say, coming to a Naprapath is because we're dealing with this whole person, not just, I got this pain, give me something, do something to let me take it away. But there's a lot that's contributing to this.
We,
There's a lot in your life that might be contributing to this problem. Hmm.
the joy that I get now in being able to focus on people who want to be involved in the management of their care is that
Yes,
we can treat the whole body. So
you're
some
fading
people.
out because I want to make sure people hear
Oh,
this.
okay. No, I
Hmm.
said the joy that I have now is that I can help work with people to inform their practitioners, whoever their primary physician is, on how to go about informing them that, hey, this needs some attention. Can you make sure that I have an examination regarding this concern? And so a lot of times they come back and say, oh, Dr. Jones, thank you for doing that. Now I'm able to understand what I need to get when I go to when I get a lab report or when I get an X-ray, or I'm able to point out problems I'm having, and just like you, I'm teaching them on how to raise questions on the care that they receive.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, Dr. Jones, we are at the top of the hour, and I would like for you to give some closing remarks and let people know how they can get in touch with you and take advantage of this wonderful service and all of the knowledge that you have gained over the last, I would say, 40 plus years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it has been a joy to be in practice, to have the freedom to interact with people in this way of being helpful uh, in any form and fashion that they can. Just I've learned so much from them. I learned from my patients who come in. They teach me so much, and through that, I've been able to work on the ability to treat the whole body from head to toe, and to work with them, to direct them to get the services that they deserve from their other medical practitioners. And they can call me as well. I can be reached at the Hyde Park Bank Building at 1525 East 53rd Street.
Okay,
Telephone
say
number.
that again, Dr. Jones, because you faded out.
Okay, I can be reached at 1525 East 53rd Street, the Hyde Park Bank Building. The phone
Hmm.
number is 773-510-0444, and my email address is phjoness at gmail.com. Um, and I'm very thankful to you, Denise, for inviting me to your program. And I'm thankful for all the information that you shared with me about the work you're doing to help the growth of Black businesses. In fact, I'm going to your website to utilize the services regarding the Rose Cafe as well as the credit union, which I didn't know about. I didn't know about either of these two. I certainly will be utilizing their services because I think I want to make the connection myself, because
That's right.
what they offer is something I need to know about, and not only know about, but to share with others. We need to sustain these particular businesses, and uh, I'm overjoyed that the work that you're performing. I want to thank you for it.
Absolutely. And thank you. And friends and family, this has been a wonderful, enlightening conversation with a very important business and service in our community. And we ask that you give Dr. Jones a call, that you support Dr. Jones because he can do a lot to help. We're working, whether it's your child, yourself, or your senior members in your family, this is the kind of service that we need. So, Dr. Jones, again, I want to thank you for coming. We ask you to go to rrgbc.org. Please subscribe so you can become a winner in our book giveaway. And you can also give donations to our organization at that website. So, thank you again for coming, Dr. Jones, and everyone. Please have a good night. And please remember to support Black businesses. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me